few more convenient truths that the 10 minutes do not allow me in my blabbity blab ticket talk mouth to reveal is that Tower 7, which was blocks away from the towers that were hit by airplanes and fell, Tower 7 held offices. Google it.
In 2 miles, take exit 90 for I-290 east toward Worcester.
Tower 7 held the offices of the banks and the CIA. That money that was unaccounted for, the $2.3 trillion that they could not track of American taxpayer money. Whoops! Sorry guys, we don't know where $2.3 trillion went. The records for those to be held accountable, the records to track the money, were in Tower 7. Huh, that's weird. Why did Tower 7 fall? In a perfect straight line down to the floor when it wasn't even hit by aeroplanes. That's weird. Another interesting fact for those of you young bloods that don't know, when I was a child in the late 1980s, now keep in mind, I am ethnically, you would say, my ethnicity is Portuguese.
In half a mile, take exit 90 for I-290 east toward Worcester.
Now, when I was a young boy in the late 1980s, my father and my uncle were detained in the airport. We went there to pick somebody up, and they were detained because some racist motherfucker thought they looked like Iranians. Now, as my Portuguese
take exit 90
family members were detained in an airport in the late 1980s, tell me this, Poindexter, why is it that
continue for half a mile,
over a dozen Saudi Arabians who were on a no-fly list on September 11th, 2001, why is it that they were allowed to board aeroplanes when my uncle and my father, who were Portuguese,
in a quarter mile, slight left onto the I-290 east ramp to Worcester,
were detained by racists who thought they were Iranian because of their big fucking stupid Portuguese mustaches and beards? Our Portuguese people detained.
Slight left onto the I-290 east ramp, then slight left onto the I-290 east ramp.
Shut the fuck up, GPS. Why are Portuguese people who are not on a no-fly list held and investigated, but Saudi Arabians who are on a no-fly list are allowed to board planes? Think about this. If you've ever worked
slight left onto the I-290 east ramp.
If you've ever worked with computers or ever worked for a job where you had to authorize shit, somebody went in the
Continue
computer
on I-290 east for 20 miles.
Somebody went in the computer and had to authorize these men who were on a no-fly list to be allowed by the check-in agent to board the planes. You want to talk your little shit and scoff and laugh in your little hubris about conspiracy? Do you know what a fucking conspiracy is, jackass? It's when some narcissistic, sociopath, evil motherfucker sits in a dark room somewhere with a bunch of other billionaires and investors, and they pull up graphs and numbers and try to figure out ways to exploit human beings to make more profit, more money, and establish more power over the collective consciousness. A conspiracy is not a joke to scoff at. It's not something that deems somebody crazy, especially when it's fucking true and you have no interest whatsoever in thinking for yourself intellectually, mathematically, solving the fucking problem that has missing equations. On September 10th, Donald Rumsfeld went live in front of the world and said, we cannot track $2.3 trillion of American taxpayer money. The records are all being tracked and held in the offices in Building 7. Whoops! Building 7 has fallen. All the evidence of tracking is gone and destroyed. But don't worry about it. Because just like you can trust us about WMDs in Iraq, wink, 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 you can trust us that all the money's accounted for. It's not missing. We weren't robbed. We weren't betrayed. As a matter of fact, I'm not even involved in it. Nor is little Bush Jr. Be a light unto yourself, friend. There is no bat suit beyond the biological weapon lab in Wuhan. Now you have to ask yourself, we have no money to feed the poor. We have no money to shelter the starving Americans, but we have millions of dollars to fund Ukraine. And we have millions of dollars, billions of dollars to give free vaccines to the entire country. Vaccines who, if you follow the money, Fauci, who makes the most profit off those vaccines? And why? Here's the kicker, buddy duddy, Bubba. My best bub, here's the kicker. When vaccines are tested for 5 years before released to the public, how do you have a vaccine in 2 years for a deadly virus that you don't even know existed? They had this shit. Google it. They had this shit 2 years before someone got sick. Do you know why? Because they created it in Wuhan. And if you follow the rabbit holes, Wuhan was funded by American taxpayer money, by Fauci himself and his little crew. You see, there's this old, ancient technique of organized criminals false flag creating a problem and then producing themselves as a problem solver with the solution. And this is how they maintain gaslit over your mind through fear. But you are intelligent, aren't you? You are a light unto yourself. And in the age of information, there's much you can learn and much you can discern on your own. Light bringer, light bender, be a light unto yourself. You know the truth. Whether you deny it, dismiss it, ignore it, close your eyes and ears to it all you want and go back to sleep, living your life of the walking dead. Sleeping while you're awake, awake only while you're asleep. Or you can choose to be awakened now. Live in the dream. Awakened in the dream. Being a light unto yourself.